What's up, and welcome to episode 143 of Throwback Hoops. My name is Rob Clayton, and I'm joined by the man himself, Woody V.
Great to be here, Robbie.
Great to have you back, mate. Another big week in basketball, and we're looking forward to chop it up, as you like to say today.
Definitely.
So just before we get into the jerseys and all that sort of fun stuff, just a reminder, please make sure you like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube. And if you listen to the audio, it's available where all good podcasts are found. So, all right, Woods, as I mentioned, we've got a lot to talk about today. We've got a lot of NBL, a lot of NBA. Of course, as always, we're going to start off with our jerseys there. So you can see you're rocking a bit of a Seattle theme there. So why don't you show us who you got today?
For sure.
So Woods is standing up, rocking the old school Sonics Kevin Durant jersey, rocking that nice Sonics hat. Now, Woods, I did say to you before we hit the record button, my radar's showing that may be a fake jersey there. I'm pretty good at spotting those. It's still a nice jersey.
It's a nice jersey. I mean, to find a Sonics Durant jersey is rare, man. It's a fake, I admit it. But still, at the same point, the reason I wore these jerseys, there's a lot of expansion going on in the NBL. We've recently brought in Southeast Melbourne, Tasmania. I want to talk a little bit about NBA expansion. And when we talk about one of the hotbeds of basketball in the US, it's Seattle, right? And since they lost that team, there's been clamors for them to have a team come back, the Supersonics to come back into the association. What are your thoughts there on Seattle getting a team back?
Well, I think there's definitely going to be expansion in the next maybe 5 years, I'd say. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a couple of teams. I think the NFL's got 30 teams, the NBA is currently 30. Do they try and match that NFL model with 32? I think the two inevitable franchises will be Las Vegas, which is 100% getting a team, and then hopefully it's Seattle. I know a few people have mentioned Vancouver. I don't think that's happening again. I don't know who else is maybe in contention, if there's any sort of ones we've sort of skipped over there. But yeah, look, it'd be great to have Seattle back. I mean, they've got a rich history there. It never quite was the same, wasn't it, when OKC took over their colours and stuff, and then do they share certain records and things like that? So yeah, they're very hungry. I think they are building a new stadium. I think I might have heard that on some podcast the other week, that they are looking to do that, and that's probably that last thing you need to do, get a modern stadium, and then you do that pitch to the league there. But it would be good, wouldn't it, to see them back?
Yeah, 100%, man. And just a bit of a pop quiz. Who's the other active player still playing in the NBA who was a Sonic?
Russell Westbrook.
Yes, there's actually two.
Jeff Green.
Jeff Green, Russell Westbrook, and Durant. Westbrook was 1 year at Seattle, was he? Or was
I think it was just the 1 year, because I know I've got a card with him wearing like a Seattle thing there. So yeah, it might have been a couple for Kevin Durant. You can fact check that, so we're getting that right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Westbrook did. First year was OKC, wasn't it?
Okay.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was
so
just
maybe that was the first maybe year of OKC.
First year of OKC.
Like I said, I do have a card with him wearing Seattle, so maybe that was a little sort of thing they did there. But yeah, Uncle Jeff, right, still on the Houston bench, I think. That's fitting. I'm rocking a Houston jersey today, actually. But yeah, it's great to see he's still in the league. Tell you what, speaking of old guys, a little bit off topic, Woods, I saw DeAndre Jordan on that Nuggets bench today. Man, he still keeps popping up, doesn't he? Yeah, it's amazing some of these veterans still seem to be hanging in.
Yeah, and he might play some minutes, right? You never know. Dario Saric hasn't worked out as they expected, so Denver might see him play a little bit. But yeah,
he looks like a great teammate, I've got to say. The first person off the bench when there's a subs or a timeout, and that always encouraging people. So I like that. I like that he sort of carved out that second half of his career there as well.
It's like James Johnson still on the Pacers, man. Do you know?
He's still thinking in case they have a fight, right? So if there's a fight, no one will mess with him because he's like an absolute weapon of a fighter there. So nice. All right. I like that one. Woods, I like the hat as well there.
Yeah, the hat. Quickly before we move on, I wanted to ask you, give me hotbed of basketball Seattle. Give me some names. Give me five, 6 names from Seattle basketball players.
Well, Jamal Crawford's the first one that comes to mind there. Isaiah Thomas, the little mini Isaiah Thomas, of course, not the Hall of Fame Isaiah Thomas. Now you're really testing me on a Monday afternoon after a long day of work.
All right, so we've got Nate Robinson, Brandon Roy, Jason Terry, James Edwards, Paolo Benchero, DeJounte Murray, and then we've got a couple of NBL connections with Peyton Siva and your boy, Robert Franks, as well.
Interesting, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Some of those NBA names are sort of names that we haven't heard for a while now. So hopefully they've got that next generation of guys coming through. Obviously, Paolo would be a big one there, sort of thing.
Michael Porter Jr. as well.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that would be a good thing to get them back. And like I said, if they are going to be getting 2 teams, I think there's a massive chance they do get that team back, and then they'll take over that old history there. Okay, so you can have their new history, they can take over the old stuff. So
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
nice one, Woods. So a bit of a trip down memory lane there. I'm going completely the opposite. I'm wearing a jersey that I literally cut the tag off yesterday, I think it was. I think you may know who this one is.
Yep.
Don't think there's a lot of people that will have this jersey just quite yet in Australia, so it was only fitting, and you knew I was going to buy this one
Yep.
actually. So let me stand up and show you who I'm rocking today.
And Robbie is wearing one of the first ever number 58 Jack McVeigh Houston Rockets jerseys. I honestly reckon there's not many of those. I reckon that could be the first one.
It could be, because I think a lot of people might go for the red coloured one, right? I was actually pretty pleased. So when he played his first minutes, he was wearing this exact jersey here. So I think they call it the Association Edition there. So yeah, only fitting that I wore this one. So it's a white Nike Houston Rockets Jack McVeigh jersey. Look, I've spoken about him probably too much on this podcast, the love I've got for him. But yeah, big congrats to Jack for making his debut this week and scoring his first NBA points. So that was really impressive. And what a year it tops off for him. Woods, the championship heroics, playing in the Olympics and now making the NBA. A 28-year-old rookie. I think he's 28, which is pretty old for a rookie there. So what I want to talk a little bit more about, Woods, what's something I love apart from jerseys and all that stuff? It's something that I love. It's not really your forte. It's numbers, right? So
yeah.
I want to talk some numbers with you, right? So number 58, this Jack McVeigh jersey. So 58, right? Random looking number, and there's a reason for that. So he's the first ever player in the NBA to wear number 58. So I thought that was pretty amazing. The reason why he wears 58, apparently his wife came up with the idea. So they took all the previous jersey numbers that he's worn over his career, added them up, and it came to 58. So that was the exact science they got to that. So there's no real, long reason. That was how they got it there. So that was one of 9 jerseys before this one was worn that have never been worn in the NBA. So there's now 8. So I know this is putting you on the spot, and I don't expect you to pick many of these. Can you think of any? Well, give me a random number. So there's 8 jersey numbers that have never been worn between 00 and 99. They're all higher numbers, of course.
Let's start with the number that I wear. I wear 83 on my jersey for the year of my birth. Is that one?
So I've actually got that in another bit because I thought you might say that. And you do, Woods. You wear that occasionally when you play for us. Hopefully you're back soon playing in our Thursday.
Next year I'm back. I'm back. I've already paid Reggio, man.
You have. Okay. There's been one player that's worn your number 83. And it's a blast from the past. So a guy wore it in 2012 with the Portland Trailblazers. This was also his birth year, which is, and I'm noticing that with some of the high numbers. People like, Patty Mills wore 88 last year for his birth year. Nicholas Batum, 88, his birth year. Things like that. See if you remember this name, Woods, from Portland. Craig Smith.
Oh, wow.
I remember that big tank of a guy, real built sort of guy. So Craig Smith in 2012 with the Blazers. Bit of a journeyman. That was the only time he wore that number. So I thought that was pretty cool and did good that I was pre-prepared for that. So give me any other numbers.
Oh, man, this is hard. 87?
87. No, I'll give you one. Oh, yeah, actually 87. Correct. You got it.
All right.
Give you another guess. So you've got seven ones that have never been worn.
It's my highest score in cricket. So we went for that. Nice. Okay, let's go 94.
94 has been. In fact, there's no numbers in the 90s that haven't been worn. A lot of those 90s numbers have been worn by Celtics, I've noticed, the last few years. Random, obviously, Celtics are hard to find a jersey number, so there's been some random people, I think Jay Crowder wore 99, a few other crazy ones like that. What's my birth year, Woods? That's putting you on the spot there.
Oh, 46, so 6 years behind me. So you're 77? 78?
78. So 77, of course, has been worn by many people. 78's never been worn, so that's one of them. So I'll tell you the rest of them. So 64, that's the lowest number that hasn't been worn. Then you've got 4 numbers in the 70s. So you've got 74, 75, 78, and 79. And then you've got 3 numbers in the 80s. So you've got number 80, number 82, and then number 87. So look, I'm sure those numbers will eventually be worn. It might be considered a cool thing, right? Hey, no one's ever worn this number before me. I think that's what's so special about Jack rocking this jersey here. But yeah, pretty interesting, right? Only 8 numbers in that history of the NBA that have never been worn since Jack's rocked this one.
I used to be a referee, and I remember those guys wearing those late numbers. It's always difficult to go up to the scorer's bench and go foul on number 93. Yeah. Like, it was very difficult as a referee to actually call those fouls.
Back in the day, Woods, it was you could wear number 4 to 15 on a basketball team, and they eventually loosened up. They thought that's because I remember I always used to have to wear 4 to 15, and then I ended up being 21 for Dominique, and like people didn't like it. And then of course I switched to my 24 for Jimmy King that I've been wearing for the last 35 years, which I mentioned on the show. But yeah, it's certainly changed now. Now they're letting people rock the numbers past 55 as well now. Yep. So, and I remember 55 back in the day because it was Cal Bruton and Tim Morrissey, and they were kind of the first 2 guys I think of when it came to number 55. So yeah, pretty interesting. Craig Smith, that random guy that did wear your jersey number 83 there. Hadn't thought of that guy for a while. What are your memories on Craig Smith?
Oh, I remember that team. I mean, it was just after the Jailblazers, I think, was it? With
2012.
Yeah,
So they were a
Bonzi
bit-
Wells was still there, maybe, potentially. No, maybe he would have
maybe not
left.
so much.
Yeah,
Then, yeah, but
I
yeah,
do remember him. Yeah.
certainly known from the past anyway. So yeah, anyway, loving this jersey, Woods. I'm really pleased I got this one. It's not often I wear. I mean, I've had worn a couple of new ones later, but cut the tag off, and I'm proud to wear this one. I'll probably rock this one maybe when I go out this weekend and might get a few funny looks there. Was going to change the shirt to have a matching colour, but I thought it's a green shirt, so kind of a bit of a Tasmania theme there. So
For sure.
looks all right. So that brings me to card of the week, and I thought I'd continue the Jack McVeigh theme. So I'll just show you this one there. It's always hard to get this one to really show. And Woods, you know this one, right? So
Yeah.
this is the one that we actually pulled on the podcast live with our great friend Sydney Seeking when we were live on location in Atlanta. So
Yeah.
it's an NBL Topps Chrome 2023 Relic Auto card of Jack. Only 99 of these made, Woods. This is actually a very rare card, even more rare. So this is what they call a numbers match card. So do you know what a numbers match card means?
No.
So it's 99 cards. It's number 9 of 99, with 9 being his jersey number. So these ones actually go for more. So if you were to get a Jordan card that was number matches a 23 of whatever, it would be worth more than any of the other numbers there because it's a jersey number match. So pretty cool there. I reckon
Yeah, it's
it's
amazing.
worth a bit. Love this card too. It's probably my favourite NBL card, I've got to say. So yeah, Jack McVeigh.
I remember how happy you were when you opened it.
Oh, I was so happy. We knew we'd get an autograph card in that pack, and I think I said all along I want to get Cotton or a Jack McVeigh one. And this is they had normal autograph ones, and they had these relic ones. That's actually a game used bit of material there. So never quite sure whether it's actually the players' jersey. They're a little bit cryptic with how that came, but yeah, nice looking jersey there to match with the card to match with
Nice.
the jersey. Nice. Well, that was fun talking about that. So we're going to get straight into some NBL, Woods.
Okay.
Pretty amazing round, wasn't it? Round 8. So I guess we've got a few things to talk about there. I know we had a bit of an open sort of thing on the run sheet for this one. We probably have to start with CG43.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's what I had written down.
Look, I know we both watched this one. I was a little bit disappointed that the Wildcats sort of gave away that lead there, but how good was CG43 in this game?
Yeah, he's amazing. And look, I've seen him live scoring 50 points
You did see that, didn't you?
on
in
the
Melbourne?
Kings.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
flew all the way to Melbourne to watch my Kings play, the Sam Young Kings back then with
Yeah.
Charles Camuch and whatnot, right? And he dropped 50 in about 34 minutes, right?
Mm.
So you know that when someone like him gets hot, you got to send 2 men his way. And I want to ask you, that third quarter, right? What, 6 or 7 in a row? Wasn't there some thought from Riley or the coaching staff to send a double his way, hack him, do whatever it takes so he can't get open, when he's on that roll? Or is
Yeah.
it just a in the moment thing that you can't do much and you just have to tip your hat and say, there's nothing we can do there, right?
And sometimes it is just the moment. I mean, pat myself on the backwoods. I've hit 9 threes twice in games there, and that feeling, you feel like you could shoot it a step from halfway and it's going in. Maybe they should have done something a bit better. Maybe Hiram Harris might have been the answer there. Someone that's a pretty good defender, long arms. Maybe they could have done something. I don't know if it would have mattered, to be honest. He just would have taken a further step back. They got some pretty solid guys and some physical guys that set screens as well. So they were playing it smart. I don't feel he rushed many shots. He made 9. I think was it 9 of 21 or something like that. So still a great percentage. I mean, 21 is a pretty outrageous amount of attempts to take, but he made 9 of them, so you can't fault that. And I love the fact in the fourth quarter as well, he could have just kept on blazing from outside. He had some really good drives to the basket.
Yeah,
So he
man.
had maybe an and one opportunity, a couple of strong finishes at the rim there. I personally thought it was one of the better games I've seen in the 40-minute era there.
Oh, yeah, for
I
sure.
really remember Shane Heal's game when I think he hit 11 threes against Townsville back in the early 90s. I really remember that, just being amazed by his threes and how far he was shooting them back. This is definitely one of the better ones. I mean, guys have hit more. Bryce Cotton's hit more, Jermaine Beal's hit more. I think Hill, Ian Davies back in the day, but it was one of the better games I've seen in a long time, and obviously he got the win as well.
Yeah, and look, I want to pick apart something you said. Some credit has to go to Dean Vickerman there as well. Some of the pin down stagger screens that he drew up to get CG open in that third quarter was awesome, right? As you said, there's not much you can do when a pin down's being created and that Kyle Korver, JJ Redick action is happening and he just gets free. So yeah, credit goes to the coaching staff to put him in positions to succeed. There were a couple of plays there where he's just wide open, and I felt you guys could have potentially
100%.
sent a double his way. Where
Yeah.
it wasn't off any action or anything. He's just pulling up and shooting threes.
Yeah.
Is there a food for thought to just foul him at that point so he can't get open, right?
Interesting you mentioned Dean Vickerman before, Woods. I actually think we're talking NBL coaches, he's on his own tier. I honestly believe that. There's Dean Vickerman, and then there's other coaches on different sort of tiers going down like that. I think he's the best coach in the NBL. Probably not a massive call, but I think he's clearly a standout coach for me. Yeah, look, they probably should have tried something. I mean, potentially, could they have brought someone off the bench and tried to rough him up a bit or something? You know, it's worth trying something, right? Bring on, you know, Rusco Nance or some random guy. You know, David Okwera could have come on. Put a guy with, you know, massive line wingspan on him or something. But yeah, again, full shout out to him. That was a pretty big win. They were staring down the barrel of two, you know, pretty significant home losses there. Double figure lead to Perth after getting smacked by New Zealand in that home game last week. I was a little bit disappointed, obviously, as a big Wildcats fan, because they had a couple of good scalps lately, the Wildcats. They knocked off, you know, Illawarra, Sydney, who else they knocked off? Tasmania. A lot of those teams at home, and it would have been a really good road win to have got that one. But yeah, CG43 heroics. I want to throw one at you as well, Woods. Is he the greatest Australian player to never play an NBA minute? He's got to be up there, I reckon. You think of some of those guys that have played limited times, you know, you guys in the 90s, noughties and stuff like that. He's got to be up there, right, in terms of guys that have played a lot for Australia and just have never quite made a minute, you know. People forget Will Magnay's played NBA, you know. There's guys like that have played limited minutes. Isaac Humphries has played NBA. Is CG...
Maybe an Andrew Vlahov, you know.
Yeah, that's a good
Right.
that's a good one, actually. Yeah.
There's not many.
Certainly in the conversation, isn't he?
Yeah. There's not many.
Anything else that stood out for you in the round? It was probably a better round than the round before. There was a lot of blowouts. I thought there were some decent games there. I know you went to the Kings game. Maybe talk to us about that.
Okay, we'll talk about the Kings game. Yeah, right. I mean, look, it was a defensive tussle, that Kings game.
Yeah.
Pretty much until the very end. We were playing like crap. You know, the last 5 minutes, Kouatnoi went off and you know, was able to, you know, get the victory for us. I think we've got a viewer's question coming up, right? So we'll break down the Kings in a second.
He's having a good season, isn't he? He's bailed the Kings out a couple of games already this year.
He's been unreal, and like you know, coming off the bench, you know, he's offering that spark. Those first few games, he couldn't throw a pea in the ocean. Right?
Yeah.
It took him a while to find his feet and get his conditioning happening, but he's been really good for us. No, what I wanted to actually pull apart from the round was the performance of Tasmania, right? And I know you've been pretty harsh on Craig Sword. And rightfully so, but he did deliver a pretty good performance. And just in those two games, firstly versus you guys on Thursday, where Milton Doyle had 30, then Craig Sword and Jordan Crawford went off on Saturday night against New Zealand, and they got the victory.
That was a funny game, wasn't it?
It was. But just looking at these last two games, you think Scott Raw, the coaching staff, has found something in Craig Sword, and also that the Tasmanian Jack Jumpers are looking a little bit better across the last round?
A little bit better. Yeah, they're still second last, I think, aren't they? Maybe third last. They might have moved up to. They need Magnay back. Yeah, they need him back, and I think they need more from Gorjak Gak. Maybe that's the negative side. But yeah, that may be something that gets Craig Sword's confidence up. What he did in that game against New Zealand there, he was decent. We know he's obviously a good defender. I don't think you need him to score 15 points. You need him to score 9 points or 10 points a game, right? I think that's all you need from him. If he can score 10 points a game and continue to play that good defense, you're happy with that.
Give us 3 or 4 stocks, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, and then, you know, basically if you just run around, wreak havoc like Craig Sword can do, then he'll eventually find a way to score 9 points, 10 points in a game through garbage, right?
And they'll get McDonald back sooner rather than later, so they've got sort of troops on the way there. Clint Steinall's having a pretty decent season. He looked like he was hardly getting minutes a while ago. I still think there's a few weak spots in that team. You know, I'm not a massive fan of Tarangi. It's what we spoke about in those season previews. Their 3s and 4s are pretty weak. You're probably relying on too much Drimich there. Tarangi, Fabian Krislovic, those sort of guys. Probably a bit too much reliance on those guys, and that's why I think there has been some criticism about someone like Saw, because potentially they could have gone out and got an import that played one of those 3 or 4 positions, or you know, even a 4-5 maybe that they could have got there. But yeah, you're right. It was a decent, you know, second game for them. They need to string a few in a row, but the ladder's pretty tight, isn't it? They're certainly well within things at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Tarangi's starting at the 4 in the NBL in 2024.
Yeah. No, it's not right, is it? Even Drimich, I like Drimich. I think he can still offer a bit. He's not a starter in the NBL. He's a 7th guy maybe in the NBL and can still contribute. But when you're relying on 2 of those guys to be starting, Yeah, asking a few questions there. You're right about Milton Doyle in that game against Perth Woods. He was on one in that game, wasn't he? He was exciting. He's been a little bit down this year, hasn't he?
Well, he was down in the second game of the weekend,
Yeah,
and that was
true.
when Jordan Crawford and Craig Sword stepped up. So they need
Yeah.
some consistency from those guys. Shawnee Mack coming back, finding something in Craig Sword. These are all positive signs. Gorjak Gak, you mentioned him. He's
Yeah.
playing a little bit more. It shows that Scott Roth is showing a little bit more faith in him to get out there on the court. So,
No,
yeah.
definitely. Well, just quickly before we go into our viewers' question, Southeast Phoenix. What are your thoughts on them since King's taken over? I think they've won. Is it 4 of 5 now, or 4 of 6? But they look pretty 4 of 6. I think it might be in their last. I think he wasn't there for 2 of those games, but they look like a team that can beat anyone on their day at the moment, right?
Yeah, they've won 3 out of their last 5, by the way.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so
Yep.
maybe not as many as I thought, but they're looking all right, though.
Very good, defensive minded as well. You saw that we talked about that game on Friday night versus the
Yeah.
Kings. They kept us down to 70 odd points, right, for the whole game, and the defense was amazing.
Yeah.
He's really getting the best out of people like Nathan Serby, you mentioned, right? You've even seen Joe Weiskamp now contributing off the bench.
Yeah.
Jordy Hunter, straight away he's buying in.
Glover
you
was
know,
great yesterday.
Glover-
That was his best game for them, wasn't it?
Glover, like he's found something in Glover. In fact, in
Yeah.
the first session practice session he had, he was asked, who's really impressed you, and he made a point to talk about Angus Glover, right?
Yeah.
Angus Glover's got more ball handling duties now. The coaching staff is showing faith in him. His ability to now knock down that open shot, which he wasn't knocking down earlier in the season, has really helped him as well. So
Yeah.
really bodes well for Southeast Melbourne. I like him.
Good stuff. I quite like watching him as well. That's sort of pretty interesting team to watch there. So, all right, appreciate that, Wood. So, as you did tease, we do have a viewers' question this week. We appreciate that. Are we reading out the name and everything? It was
Yes. Let me just
Thomas
bring it up.
Perez, I
Yeah.
believe, that
Do you,
hit
do
us
you
up
wanna-
just on YouTube there. So we'd certainly encourage anyone, put us a comment on YouTube, send us through our socials. We'd love to, get some of these questions and potentially answer these questions, on the show for you. So his question, I'll read it out verbatim there, Wood. So, hey, Rob and Woody, loving the podcast. I just wanted to chuck out an NBL question to do with the Sydney Kings. We've seen Gorgon use a couple of different starting fives in the first 12 games, with Cam starting on Friday night, but seeing him have his least efficient game. What do you think our best starting five should be? Do you think Cam is in our starting five, or do you think his impact off the bench this year is the way to go? So maybe I'll answer first, Woods, because I know
Go
this
for
is
it.
right up your alley, being a Kings question there, and you've certainly watched a lot more of the Kings, including the live games this year. I don't know what your answer is, but for me, I'll probably lean towards having Cam leading that bench unit. I also feel that's a little bit of a difficult thing there, though. So we're talking about a big name, highly paid American import, and obviously highly paid because he's on the Sydney Kings. I just had to throw that little jab in there. So you're talking about someone that potentially has to put their ego a little bit to the side there and commit to a 6-man role. So I'm not quite sure Cam Oliver is the sort of person that will commit to that. And I don't know, he looked quite good on the bench that I saw on the weekend. He was cheerleading well. He looked a bit more up and about than he's been there. I think you've got to sort of sell it to him and say to him, look, you can still play 25 to 30 minutes a game and certainly play crunch minutes in the fourth quarter. I think if he could commit to that, I like it. I think it could work well there. I like the fact that he's playing with second units there, like, early in the game. Like I said, he'll definitely play it there because he's a quality player. I mean, Cam Oliver, right? You can do it from all areas of the court there. So I know we're big fans of him as well, Woods. If I was picking my ideal starting five there, sort of struggle with a couple of these there. I'd have Adams, Quoll, Tui, and Cooks. I thought those 4 were easy. I'd maybe have Kwatnoi
Really?
in that fit spot there, and have Cam on the bench. So, I think committing one of those guys to be a 6-man would be good, but I just don't mind that. I think there's a lot of firepower there. Like I said, Cam Oliver to come on, play a little bit with the second unit, and then play crunch minutes there. So throw me your answer, Woods. I have a feeling you're going to be different to me there.
Mine is different, right? And the reason I say that is we started off with Kelly LePepe as the starting in the starting spot, right?
Yeah.
Now that experiment ended, and Brian Gorgian said we're going to give him a DNP CD. Pretty much didn't play. And who did he bring into the starting lineup? He brought in Galloway, right? Now Galloway is out indefinitely with an injury, right? Kwatnoi has been contributing great off the bench, right?
Yeah.
A guy like Cam Oliver, you want to also keep him happy, keep him, engaged with the team, right? And by starting him, he's an all NBL type player.
And that's
as you
what I meant
mentioned.
about that ego thing. It's hard, right? Like,
So you start him, and I will go with a starting lineup of exactly the same as yours. So I'd go Adams, Tui, Cooks, Bull Call, Cam Oliver, right? And I'll have Kawhi coming off the bench for impact.
Any thought to the Kawhi thing? Woods, the fact that he has been playing so well, he's potentially earned that position, or you like almost the reason I gave for Cam? You like him playing against those second units and coming on. He can get hot quite quickly as well, can't he?
Kawhi, I like him playing against the second units.
Yeah.
Cam's a better rebounder as well. He's also a better passer out of a double team, right? Where Kawhi is very much one track in his mind. Let me get buckets, right? So that's ideal for a guy coming off the bench. And the fact that he's been coming and impacting games, Sydney games late in the piece has really helped us get victories. So why change that? I'll go with Cam Oliver to start. Yeah.
All right, Woods. So say the Sydney Kings call you this week and they're like, Woods, we're sorry to reach out, but Gorge is going to miss this next game. We need you to take over the team and coach them, right? So you've mentioned the starting five. I reckon you'd look good as the coach, by the way. You'd probably wear a suit like they used to do back in the day as well.
Have to wear a suit.
Probably couldn't wear a hat though, and no vaping as well if you're the coach.
None of that.
Who would some of those guys you'd cut out of that rotation? So you mentioned your starting five. Who would you sort of shorten that rotation if you were playing 7 or 8? Who would potentially be not getting minutes there for you?
So you'd probably Robertson wouldn't be getting minutes for me. So you play the starting five, right?
Yeah.
Then I'd have Bruce, Kawhi Noy, and then
Leo Pepe getting minutes, or are you benching him as well?
Yeah, probably Leo Pepe and Liafa getting minutes as well. So I'd play a 9-man rotation. So you'd have McQuatch, Spurgeon, Amir, Tyler Robertson all getting DNP CDs for me.
That one that would sort of really fall down. Nice. All right. Yep. We'll keep your phone free anyway. You might get the call from this week. And good luck to you if you do.
Can I just give a quick shout out to Tom Perez? Tom Perez and his wife Samara are fellow members of with me at the Sydney Kings. They've become really good friends of mine. They sit next to me. They're expecting their firstborn. So a big congratulations to Samara and Tom. Tom, thanks for sending in the question, man. And hopefully our Kings can get some victories and turn this indifferent start to the season around.
Nice. No, we appreciate that. Well said. All right, Woods. Well, we've got another big round coming up. So we've got 6 games. Only a couple of teams on doubles. I think it's only Perth and Brisbane off the top of my head with doubles. 3 double headers. So no Thursday game, if I'm not mistaken. Double header on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So it's pretty easy to follow.
Right. Shall I bring it up?
We'll go through those games. Maybe you can read them out and we'll give a couple of quick predictions there.
Yep.
I should say, at the time of recording, it's Monday the 11th of November there. So Remembrance Day. So, yeah, well, obviously we've got no games until Friday now.
Yeah, so 3 doubleheaders, as you mentioned. So let's start off on Friday with Tasmania versus Brisbane. It's going to be a must-win game for both teams. Tasmania at home there at My State Bank Arena. Who you got?
Yeah, I think Tasmania definitely that one. Brisbane are still a bit shaky there. I like Tasmania at home. I find it hard to not pick them when they're playing at home, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. They're tough to beat at home. Dengadell may be coming back from that groin injury. We haven't seen him since round 1, I think.
It's
So
been a while,
yeah, all right. Perth versus Southeast Melbourne. This is going to be a good game, man. Southeast Melbourne, as you mentioned, they're going to come in, coached well, defensive-minded into your arena. 9:30 Friday afternoon game. Who you got?
I mean, they travelled to New Zealand, didn't they, and got the win recently, sort of thing. So they can travel and get wins on the road there. I've got to pick Perth in that traditional 9:30 slot for us Sydney guys to watch that. But yeah, you're right. It could be a decent game, and Perth will want to be on their A game for that one.
Yep, agree. Cairns versus New Zealand. I mean, Cairns look completely shot. Rob Edwards served a 1-game suspension. Taron Armstrong is back.
They didn't need that, did they?
Huh?
They didn't need that, did they? With all the injuries they've got, with missing Rob there.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with New Zealand. They had a tough loss on the weekend, so I think they're going to come back and win. Cairns, you've got guys coming in and out of the lineup.
Yeah.
There's no continuity there. I have very little faith in them, so I've got New Zealand.
I agree. I'll say New Zealand for that one as well, getting that road W.
All right. Next we got
big one.
What's the series called?
You tell me.
No, you tell me, man. You're always good with this stuff.
Freeway something.
Freeway or highway series. So we got the New South Wales derby. The Illawarra Hawks versus the Sydney Kings. This is going to be a cracker, man. I'm gonna find.
And I must admit, I thought Illawarra, we didn't speak about them obviously in the round that passed. Adelaide, they were just amazing, weren't they? Montrose Harrell and Kendrick Davis has had monster games there. But yeah, they were a little bit down, I thought, on that game, Illawarra. Darius Dayswoods, he's been a little bit...
He has, man.
Talked him up as an MVP chance at the start of the year. I think he's been a little bit disappointing.
He has been.
This could be a big game though, right? Illawarra, Sydney.
Absolutely, and I think Illawarra have struggled since they lost Trey Kell. Since they lost him for a while, he's come
back
back.
now and looked a bit, a bit short on match fitness there. So no, looking forward to watch that one. And the game after as well, we've got kind of two co-games of the round, don't we? There, that Saturday night and then the Sunday afternoon one there.
Yep, Melbourne Adelaide. Who you got on Saturday?
Man, it's a good one. I'd be interested to see what the Jack White news is though, Woods, before I get to that one. He obviously played half a game. That would be a great matchup, Jack White against Montrezl Harrell there. Montrezl Harrell's so fun to watch, isn't he? Just love his facial expressions, just that look of disgust he has on his face when they bring someone on, he backs them down and scores. I mean, just giving it to the other team's bench. He's hilarious. He's been great for the league this year.
Amazing for the league, man.
That game was sold out 4 days before it tipped off, right? So they're getting 9,000 crowds in Adelaide and stuff. So, but my tip, I'll say Adelaide. I'll say they'll keep that stretch going, but Kendrick Davis will be up against some pretty tough defenders in that game, won't he?
He will be. And let's just talk about Kendrick Davis in the interview that he did at the end of the game yesterday. Yeah. And they asked him about Montrezl Harrell, and he's like, listen, he's a vet. He's a vet. He's a leader. This is only my second year as a professional, right? Yeah. I need him in the locker room. He's been so good for my development. So not only has he been good for our league, right? Some of these younger guys on that roster are Nick Marshall, Kendrick Davis, etc. To have that experience early in their career, to spend a season playing with the former NBA Sixth Man of the Year must be amazing, right?
100%. That alley-oop he threw down was massive, wasn't it? But yeah, looking forward to it. Like I said, two really good games there. So yeah, I'll say Adelaide will keep their strong run going there, and then
Brisbane and Perth, final game of the round.
It's about a lot of doubles, doesn't it, these last few weeks there? I think they'll kind of continue that trend of getting one win, one loss. So as much as I hate to say it, I'd say Brisbane might win that one. We'll see Mitch Norton go up against his old team. Although Mitch Norton got a bit of an injury in that last game, didn't he? Hopefully he's okay as well. We'll have to try and look for the NBL injury list, Woods. I know it's quite a hard thing to find. It's almost like trying to find Halley's Comet or something like that. But I don't like they don't sort of share it like they should. NBA injuries are really easy to see. You look at a list, you'll see someone's questionable, doubtful, out, or whatever like that. Very hard to find NBL injury news, isn't it? Especially for us Supercoach players. Yeah.
Definitely. So maybe I want to ask you about Almanza as well, man. He got the start ahead of Keanu Pinder, right? Yeah. And he was amazing, wasn't he?
Friday night, he was great. I mean, look, his shot isn't pretty, isn't he? He's sort of got that bit of a heave sort of shot, but he's so tall, he still seems to get it over people. But he was great at both ends. I was really impressed in that first game. He hit a couple of threes, a couple of block shots. Was impressive there. So, yeah, I like that move. I don't know whether that'll be something they do each week. I just maybe did it at the spur of the moment there, but he looked good, didn't he?
Yeah, he looked great, and they got something out of Pinder on the bench as well, so it's maybe worth sticking with that.
Absolutely. Well, looking forward to that round to come up, Woods. Let's get into some NBA, right? So one thing I sort of haven't got on the run sheet, maybe we can quickly talk about, a lot of injuries that are creeping up as well. We saw news that Durant's going to miss time. Ja Morant's going to miss time.
Chet today.
Yeah, Chet today went down. Indiana's got a lot of problems. Nemsmith and Nemhard, so they're going to be out till next month, I believe. So, yeah, a lot of just random injuries popping up there. So it's just a matter of trying to weather the storm for these teams. The Hawks have obviously been hit by the injury bug. They're struggling a little bit. It was a pretty disappointing weekend for them, losing at Detroit and then giving up a lead and losing against Chicago. So I frustratingly watched both those games there. But, yeah, I wanted to start off with a team in the East, though, Woods. I know they had the second on the run sheet, but let's start off with this right. So let's talk about Cleveland. At the time of recording, the Cavs, they're 11-0. So I think it's one of 12 teams that have started off a season 11-0. So, firstly, Woods, you drafted the Cavs at pick 12 in our team draft there, so you did well. Bad news for that is I actually had a look at that list on the weekend to see how we're going. I'm currently 10 wins in front of our wins draft. So mainly because two of the teams you drafted higher were Milwaukee and Philly. So they're the teams that are letting you down at the moment. But yeah, Cleveland was certainly a good one. So we picked them 12th in our draft. How well has Kenny Atkinson got this team performing? Do you think they can keep this up? I've got some doubts whether this team's built for the playoffs with Donovan Mitchell being your star. But yeah, what are your thoughts on how this team's going so far?
Unreal, and it starts with Evan Mobley and his ability on the defensive end. He's an early candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, right? Yeah. Some of the work that he's been doing has been ridiculous. And Jared Allen is just a great basketball player. Like, he does all the little things you want to do. And you got that starting lineup. You put in Darius Garland, Isaac Okoro, Donovan Mitchell alongside these two bigs. You got a defensive-minded starting lineup, right? Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell have been extremely committed to playing defense. Darius Garland, after a bit of a step back year last year, has found that form again. He's back in full effect. Yeah. And I think it's just about getting these 5 guys healthy. But the big change here has been Evan Mobley. No one would have thought his ascension would have been so great from one season to the next. His ability to do a little bit of everything on the floor is just unreal. And I think he's that connector guy for them, which was missing previously. I really do think that, look, they're gonna make some noise in the playoffs. They're not gonna win the championship here, sure. But
there was doubts, wasn't there, Woods, about him being able to play with Allen there, right? So Mobley and Allen, people were like, could those two sort of coexist? I think they're absolutely doing it. I think Mobley's potentially got to keep working on his outside shot. That'll eventually come there, but they are working well. He's a very smart player, Mobley, as well. Good to see Garland back to that form. You know, he was an all-star, 2 years ago, and last year, I don't know whether it was just injuries or form, and then they've got a lot of unheralded guys off the bench, right? Shout out to Luke Travis making his debut. I think he's back in the G League now, put up a monster game yesterday. But you got some of these unsung guys, Woods, that you could probably walk past in your local shopping centre, and guys like Dean Wade and, you know, Max Strus and, you know, Max Strus? No, George's Niang. These sort of...
No, Max Strus is there as well.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's injured at the moment. He's injured at the moment.
Right,
but yeah.
Right. Well, Dean Wade being that one, probably no one would know who they were if they saw him, sort of thing. But yeah, they're looking okay, aren't they? They've got a bit of depth there. Kenny Atkinson, though, pat on the back for him, though.
Well, I mean, Kenny Atkinson saw something in Jarrett Allen all those years back in Brooklyn, right? We're forgetting that. He was the one who, you know, first discovered what Jarrett was capable of. So having him back and reunited has been awesome. He also seems like a player's coach. I know we use it a lot, that term, player's coach. But he's a guy who's willing to listen to his players and let them learn from their mistakes a little bit. So I like what he's done, and they're just fun to watch as well. Yeah.
And they've knocked off some good teams now as well. I mean, they crushed Golden State. You see, Golden State have had wins over OKC and Boston in the last week. They crushed Golden State.
OKC,
right? They've won in Boston, I think, that game. They won on that one there. So, really impressive so far. Looking forward to see where that continues. I think they've got a game. I know a lot of the in-season tournament games are happening this week, aren't they? So we're interested to see how they go. Hopefully those courts won't be as crazy as they were last year, Woods. I believe they've toned down some of the colours and everything else like that. But yeah, interesting storyline so far, right? Yeah. Well, East versus West, Woods. It's something that's often been spoke about in the NBA, and there's always been a bit of a disparity between the East and the West.
Yes.
To me, it feels like the West has been long considered the better conference. The standings are pretty alarming, to be honest, and certainly backing that up this season. So at the time of recording, so Monday the 11th of November, we're talking the Eastwoods. There's 2 teams that are over 50%. 2. That's the Cavs and the Celtics. So I think the Knicks are 2 games under in their 3rd or 4th or something. It's quite remarkable. Charlotte are up there, you know. It's I don't think I've ever seen it that different. So obviously the Cavs 11-0, the Celtics have dropped a couple there. So, you know, the teams that are basically from 3rd onwards are basically 2 games under the 50% record, or 500 as they like to call it over there. To put it in perspective, in the West, there are currently 11 teams over 50%. 11. So we're talking 11-2 there. And the 12th place Spurs, Woods, they would actually be in 3rd place if they were to play in the East, which is pretty crazy, right? So, firstly, how crazy is this? And is this a shock to you? And, you know, do you think this will start to even out as the season progresses a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So it's a small sample size for starters, right? So there will be a little bit more parity as the season goes on, right? So let's not read too much into the first 10 or so games, because as I said, that'll change. Having said that, however, there is a glaring difference between the quality in the West and the East, right? We saw that last year. We're seeing that again. So my question to you is, and I'm a traditionalist, right? I don't want to change tradition. You know me, right? Wear suits on the sideline, you know, that kind of thing, right? I want 48-minute games in the NBL. You know me, right?
Yeah.
I'm very much about the East, West. Let's play 1 through 8 seeding in the East and the West. The winner of each conference then meets in the NBA final. But there's a lot of clamoring from the media and people in the know about going to a 1 to 16 seed. Not going back, but going to a 1 to 16 seed. Regardless of conference, you see the top 16 teams, 1 plays 16, 2 plays 15, and so forth, right? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I hate it as well. Isn't there even talk that the teams can choose who they want to play, and they want that to be exciting because then that team that they've picked is going to feel snubbed and be fired up to play them? What are we talking about here, right? So we've got our gimmicks. We talked about the in-season tournament. That's the gimmick they can do. They start that this week. I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? It's the fact that it's the normal regular season games that count for that. But no, don't change the playoff settings. I like the way it is, right? I like that we get an East versus West. And look, these things, you know, change in time, don't they? We obviously saw, the Celtics dominated for ages, the Bulls dominated, Lakers, Spurs in the West, the Miami runs, East and Golden State. So it seems to come back and forth there. Right?
We're just going to have to live with the fact that this is going to happen. There's going to be seasons where there's going to be some disparity between East and West.
Yeah.
So be it.
But you're right, though. I don't think it can continue like this because obviously the West teams are going to play each other more. So these teams are going to be knocking out each other a little bit there. But for me, it's some of these teams that, say, in the East, and maybe that's the reason for it, some of these teams that we predicted to be bad aren't too bad. Like, for example, Brooklyn, not too bad. Charlotte,
They're very
not too
good.
bad. Detroit, playing really good basketball.
Brooklyn's very good, man.
Yeah,
Way
so
better than I thought. Yeah.
These teams can prove on their night that they can beat someone. Detroit was someone that really impressed me in that game against the Hawks there, Wood. So Cade Cunningham is almost a lock to be an all-star.
He's ridiculous.
He's really
ridiculous.
good.
A walking triple-double. Yeah.
100%. They've got some veterans this year that make them a bit more relevant. Getting guys like Tim Hardaway Jr. and these sort of guys that can come on and contribute there. So, yeah.
Tobias Harris coming back.
Yeah, Tobias Harris. And we mentioned how good he was, and we saw him live playing for Philly last year. So, yeah, I do think it'll even out as well. But certainly pretty alarming at the moment, isn't it? And I thought something that was worth discussing there. So, well, to finish off our little NBA talk there, Woods, got to put a little bit of Hawks talk in there. I know it's going back, just a little bit less than a week now, but I know we were both thrilled to see Zachary Risacher have his coming out party against
Risacher.
Yeah, Zachary Risacher. Yeah. Put up 33-7, 3-3 and 2, as well as hitting 6 of 10 threes. So I know we both watched this one live. It was a big win against the Knicks there. How impressive was this performance from young Zach?
Very impressive. And you mentioned about the injuries that has been affecting the NBA as a whole over the last little period, and the Hawks have been victim to that. Yeah. So Zach got the opportunity to really start and play heavy minutes. And one thing that's really stood out for me is the maturity he's showing beyond his years, right? He seems like he's willing to learn, right? All of those shots that he took, they're all within the flow of the offense. He's not trying to push anything, He's like a sponge, seems very humble. And I think that if he continues, ticking those boxes, getting all the fundamentals right, he's going to have a lot more games just like that, right?
Absolutely. They're getting rave reviews, all the sort of stuff I hear from the Hawks. They're really impressed with his work ethic. He's one of those guys that, the old cliche Woods, he's the first to practice and the last to leave. So that's great to hear, right? You want someone that wants to get better there. We mentioned before, he's the son of a former, international and a guy that was really handy for France there. So I think that's a good sign as well. Look, that was the highest score by 19. Was the youngest player to score 30-plus points for the Hawks, so 19 years of age. That was a new record for them, which was pretty cool to see that stat there. For me, look, he'll have some down nights. We should say that as well. He wasn't great in those two games over the weekend there, and that's just the ups and downs of a 19-year-old rookie in this league. But I think so far he's got to be right up there for Rookie of the Year contender with Carlton Carrington there from Washington. I think it's got to be those two. I know he's averaging the most points as far as a rookie, but yeah, so good to see, right? I know we're both happy to see Zach have his coming out party.
Yeah, and I think looking back many years down the track, he will be the consensus number one overall pick. Early, I'm thinking he might be the one who has the most fruitful career out of this class, right?
Cool. All right, Woods, appreciate that. So, yeah, a lot going on in the NBA at the moment. We're going to do a quick true and false because we do want to do a classic packs this week. So we'll just go through a quick true and false there, Woods. I hope you're ready for some quick answers there on this one. People know how this works now. I've picked 5 questions, a bit of a mix of NBL and NBA. First one, simple, quick, short one. Scoot Henderson is a bust.
False.
What you got?
False. Give him some time. He's young.
Say true on that one. Okay. Yep. He hasn't been great, has he? For a number 2 pick.
He hasn't, but I'm not ready to call him a bust just yet. As I said, point guards take a while. This guy came through the G League Ignite as opposed through the college where it's very more structured. So he's taken a while to find his feet as a point guard in this league. Playing for a crappy team like, Portland is not going to help him. But having Chauncey Billups there as a mentor will. So let's reserve judgment in the next year or so. Yeah.
Okay, part B, special extra bonus question. Jabari Smith is a bust. You were talking about Jabari Smith on our...
Jabari Smith is a bust, man. He does nothing. He doesn't rebound that well. He can shoot. If he's not making threes, he's just doing nothing, right? He's a minus on the court.
And he was a number 2 pick as well. Wasn't they both number 2 picks? Yeah.
Jabari
Smith. You feel like you've seen enough of him now to...
I've seen enough of him, man. 2 years, and he's just very limited in what he can do, right?
Okay.
So
that was a special bonus one. Thanks for that one, Woods. All right, next one. Detroit will double last season's win total of 17 wins. So will they get to 34 wins?
Yes.
absolutely true for me as well.
True.
I think it's very, very likely to happen there. It's interesting to see that they've got bigger staff in there, and he's really got that team playing well. So no, it's a true for both of us.
So that
Right.
Bickerstaff move actually worked out well for both
Yeah, you're
Cleveland
right,
and
it's worked
Detroit in hindsight, right?
You're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. All right, so a couple of NBL ones. All right, I'm interested to see your answer on this one. Tasmania will finish in the bottom 2 this season.
Well, false. We just had that chat about Scott Roth and the work he's doing.
Yep.
Shawnee Mack coming back, Craig Sword finding something. I think you'll find Cairns and Brisbane.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree. That's a false on me for that one.
Yep.
This one's interesting. New Zealand are a lock to make the finals this season. A lock.
False.
False.
There's only been 1/3 of the games played, and in
Yeah.
NBL anything can happen. We saw with Illawarra last year starting, and they were almost written off. They came back and nearly made the
So you
championship.
still think they can make it? You just don't think they're a lock to make it, sort of thing, and that's fair enough, right?
And
Yeah,
if I was to predict, I would say they'll make it to top
Yeah.
six. Top 6.
All right. And the last one, Woods, I know you probably had a bit of a smirk on your face when I put this on the run sheet. So, Scottie Pippen Jr. will have a better career than his dad.
Yeah, you're just taking the piss now, right?
You don't like that question? Yeah.
I love the
We got a
question.
triple-double a couple of days ago, and
Yeah.
special happy birthday to Scottie Pippen Jr. Woods, 24 years of age today, so he's got a long future ahead of him. So, no, you don't think he's going to rise to the levels that his dad
I think
did.
Scottie Pippen Jr. will have a better career than Larsa Pippen, but not Scottie Pippen.
No, that's true. True. No, that's a good call. I've got to say, he was someone that I think we saw, Scottie Pippen Jr., and we're like, oh, really? Is he going to be that good? He's a solid player, isn't he?
Want a jersey?
Yeah, that'd be
I'm on the
awesome,
Pippen
wouldn't
Jr. jersey,
it?
man.
And
How
he'll get some
dope
more
would that
minutes
be?
with the
Yeah.
Grizzlies too, with Ja Morant potentially out a couple of weeks. So yeah, that would be a nice jersey. That could be your next one to get there, right?
Yep.
Nice. All right, enjoyed that true and false, Wood. So let's get into some classic packs. We haven't done it for
Yeah.
a couple of episodes now. Not
One
sure
sec.
who you've got today. I still feel like that jersey you got, Woods, you might have picked up from Parkley Markets.
You
a
said you
few
don't
years
like
ago.
it?
There's no NBA logo on there or no sort of logo. It just doesn't look quite right to me. But hey, it's fine.
I got it in Goa, bro. That's where I got it.
Well, that's definitely right. Yeah. Okay, all right. So you got it at the markets in Goa.
Like in one of the
Yeah,
markets
okay.
in Goa. That's
Fair
where I
enough.
got it. No,
Yeah. All right. So what have we got? Fleer Ultra.
yeah, we've got a
190.
Fleer Ultra 92, 93. We've got the 91, 92 upper decks on the way. I've got 6 packs on the way.
Nice.
So
And these are Series 2 with all the dodgy no-nos
yeah,
in
these,
it. So
these
that-
have not been the
this
most
could be
impressive
interesting.
cards, right?
Let's see
So-
what we got here. Yeah.
all right. I talk about this guy being one of the greatest shooters of the 80s and the 90s, right? He was just a walking bucket. He would have
Dale
really...
Ellis.
Yes.
Nice.
You know I always talk about him. I love
Dale
Dale
Ellis.
Ellis, man.
And gotta say, these are nice cards. Right? There's a bit of Vladi in the background with his beard. Show us the back of these as well, Woods.
Love a Dale Ellis
Yeah,
jersey,
they're
by the way,
nice. So you
man.
got like 2 pictures on the back. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's a nice card. That's with Spurs, is it? There.
That's for the Spurs, yep.
Nice.
I think he finished off with the Nuggets, I think he might have,
Yeah,
right?
bounced around a bit towards the end of his career.
Yeah. Okay. Utah Jazz forward, who I've never heard of. He was a rookie.
Is he a BWS?
No, it's he's got the same surname as Juwan.
John
Went to DePaul.
Howard.
Went to DePaul. Stephen Howard.
Nice card, nice dunk, but no, I don't know a lot about Stevie Howard there. No.
Okay, Orlando Magic guard. Okay, his name is. I'm speaking frankly about something.
Tell us, Frank.
No, I'm speaking. Literal green.
Oh, wow. I do remember that name. I would not have got that one in a million years. This is a pretty bad start, I've got to say.
Oh,
Is this the last of these Series 2 packs we've got?
Yeah, this is
Okay.
terrible.
So this is going to be a pack where Dale Ellis is like the headline card of this, right?
Okay, this guy was. Let me see what I can. Oh, this one's former draft pick of our Hawks. That's probably the best way to put it. I think it's 1989-90 draft of the pick of the Hawks, and then
Adam
went on.
Keefe.
No, number 20. Then went on to play for the Nets. Played for Atlanta, Nets, Charlotte. He was the. I think he was the.
From what college?
He was the 10th overall pick, I think, from 9th or 10th pick in the 1990 draft. We pulled his Skybox card once.
What college?
Went to college at Michigan. Ramil Robinson.
course. Jeez, I should have got that one. Oh, mealtime. Yeah, geez, I should have got that one. I wasn't picturing him actually, but that's a nice one. I didn't mind him. He was actually the trade for Mookie Blaylock, if I'm not
Yep.
mistaken, right?
Speaking of which, the next card is
Blaylock. Nice. That's a nice card, right? Has it got Darren on the back? Is it calling his government name, or is it got Mookie?
Just Mookie Blaylock.
Got Mookie. Well, he was a great player. They're talking about all those steals records that Dyson Daniels is setting. All the records that are around him there are Mookie Blaylock records, 3 steals. So, yeah, one of our favourite Hawks there. That's the pack's got better now.
I talk about point guards, New York City point guards. This guy's one of my favorite little guys of all time. Portland Trail Blazers.
Rod Strickland.
Rod Stricky Strick.
Nice. I actually got an autograph card of him, I think, maybe last week or two. So, well, this pack's suddenly getting better now, Woods. What else can you keep pulling here?
All right.
Get us like an Alonzo Mourning rookie card or something.
Okay. His brother briefly coached here in Australia. He's
Brent Price.
Brent Price. Yeah.
Wow, yeah, I remember him on those teams there. He didn't have a long career, did he? I can't picture him in a lot of other teams apart from Washington there, but yeah, he had a similar game to Mark, but definitely not as good.
Okay, this man is known for his short role in Bad Boys.
Oh, a short roll from a giant man, right? So, yeah, John Sally.
Do you remember the name of the character?
Ooh, yeah, I can picture it. I know he was the computer.
I've watched them. He was the jail guy, right? You know, he was in jail.
He was good with the IT stuff.
Yeah.
Nah, what was his? Do you remember? Or not?
I don't remember the name now.
Okay.
I just rewatched it recently, actually.
He's even in the brand new one, right? He even had a cameo in that. Shout out to the Spider.
All right, this is awesome. Dunk rank number 1 from 92-93. Number 50. Talk about big weird names on your jerseys. Yeah.
50 and a good dunker, is he?
Yep, number 1 dunker. Center. Big man. Center. Come on, man. I thought you were good with numbers. How do you not know this?
Oh, the Admiral.
The Admiral.
David Robinson. Yeah, nice.
He jumps so high and just goes over everybody and dunks. Hakeem Olajuwon's quote about David Robinson. Yeah.
Someone that I still feel has kind of become a bit underrated over the years, Woods. People always talk about Hakeem, David Robinson, your boy Patrick Ewing. People don't always bring up David Robinson's name. No. He was an amazing player.
And rest in peace. I love this man. Just such a great human being. I remember him on those Bulls teams. Wore his bespectacled goggles. 0.
Oh,
Orlando Woolridge.
Woolridge?
Yep.
Nice.
Love Orlando Woolridge.
He was a good dunker back in the day too, right?
Yeah, he was.
Have you frozen, Woods, or have I? That went a bit funny.
That was you for a second, but all good.
That was me for a second.
Yep. All right. When I talk about this guy, I think about him teaming up with Kevin Duckworth in Portland.
Buck Williams.
Oh, sorry. It's not Buck Williams. It's the same namesake of Buck Williams.
Buck
right?
Johnson.
Buck Johnson, my bad.
Buck Johnson. Yeah, I remember Buck Johnson. Washington. I remember him with Houston as well, Buck Johnson. Yeah, nice.
Can't tell you much about this guy, but he was a rookie for the Bucks, number 11. Arkansas University.
Rex.
Lee Mabry.
Oh, I was going to say that, Lee Mabry. Yeah, I remember him back in the day, Lee Mabry. He was decent on those teams with Todd Day, of course. So, yeah, I should have done that one.
Flat top for the Pacers. Forward. Played for the New York Knicks as well. Pretty sure, from memory.
What number?
It doesn't say his number. I can't. Number 4.
No, flat top, not Vern Fleming.
Kenny Williams.
Kenny Williams. Another guy that might have been in a dunk comp, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
And finally, bespectacled Wolves, number 4,
don't you?
forward. Yeah. Goggles, okay?
Goggles for the Wolves.
Yep.
Big guy.
Yep. Or forward, yeah. 7 foot center, yeah.
What number?
4. Brad Sellers.
Oh, wow, Brad Sellers, yeah. There's some nice goggles there. All right, so look, it wasn't as bad as it started off. We had Dale Ellis, we had the Mookie and Ramil Robinson combo there.
Yeah, so out of this pack, you'll say that Orlando Woolridge, I like that one.
Yeah.
David Robinson, John Sally,
nice.
Brent Price, Rod Strickland, Mookie Blaylock, Ramil Robinson, and then I think Dale Ellis. All the
It
others.
got a bit better, didn't it? Yeah, the David Robinson being the main sort of card there. So we're looking forward to the Upper Deck. So what did you say? Is that the inaugural year you got or the second year of Upper Deck maybe?
I think it's the inaugural.
Inaugural. love those early
Yeah.
upper deck ones. Maybe we'll pull one of those hologram cards that I love there. So fun, Woods. I know we hadn't done that for a while, so I know we've got to keep the people with the classic packs that they enjoy. So thanks for that. Let's get to a bit of an outro, right? I've covered a lot today, so just a reminder, as I mentioned at the start of the show, please make sure you like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. We can be followed on X at Throwback Hoops, Instagram throwback.hoops, email address throwbackhoopspodcast@gmail.com. So keep those viewer questions in, jersey suggestions, anything else like that. Let us know what you thought of, our starting fives for the Sydney Kings, what you think of Woody's fake jersey, all those sort of things. We're happy to answer any of that sort of stuff there. So, Woods, any Patreon updates there?
No, but for whoever wants to, just jump on www.patreon.com/Throwback Hoops, and if you'd like to pledge your support to us, we'd appreciate it.
Maybe we can get that Adrian guy that bought all the houses on the block last night, Woods. Maybe he can go on and pledge $1 million or so. He seems to have a few of them lying around. So, no, we do appreciate all our listeners and subscribers there. We love every one of you there. So, well, that's been a fun show, Woods. Looking forward to some big shows coming up. We do have a couple of guests that we will sort of get to. I've got a lot going on at the moment, running the house solo, and also dealing with a new kitten as well, Woods. So there's a lot going on there. But once things settle down a bit, we'll look to get some more big guests there. But any final words? What are you looking forward to in this round of NBL games?
Going out to the Flames game tomorrow. First home game of the
nice.
season. I'm going Wednesday night, actually, day after tomorrow. So get out there, support the Flames. They're at the Key Centre against Bendigo, I think. I'll have to double check that.
So that'll be that game of the week as well, won't it? To watch
that's the ESPN game. Yep.
And the Key Centre's good, right? It's a more intimate venue there. It's the old State Sports Centre for people that don't know. Literally, that was the only thing that was in that Olympic Park area before the Olympics happened. So I remember watching a lot of games there back in the day. So I've got memories, Woods, just off topic there, shaking hands with Andrew Vlahov at that stadium there after a game. And I think I got home a couple of hours after the game finished, my hand still hurt. So, yeah, that's my memories of that stadium there, the strongest man of all time. So, nice. So that'll be
It's
good.
the Bendigo spirit, actually, just to confirm.
Bendigo, that'll be nice.
Yep.
All right, good stuff, Woods. Well, yeah, really appreciate everyone tuning in. Peace out from the Throwback Hoops group.
Thanks, everyone.